All right, so now we are recording. Let me share my screen. Where'd it go?
Ain't in it. Morning.
Good morning.
You're on mute. Mute.
I'm on mute now, right?
No, you're good.
Oh,
You're
good.
Good.
Let me go to present. All right, so does everyone see my screen?
I do.
Awesome. So last week's homework was the not so fun homework. And most don't do it, but you should do it. I know we kind of talked about this last week, getting ready for the homework, and you guys have to get ready for taxes anyway, but going through all of your expenses, your billing, personal, business. I know for me, I was able to save $1,200 a year from systems that I wasn't using, that I forgot I had purchased. Or I know for me, it was like a program called Crello, which is very similar to Canva. And they had a lot of video elements. So that's why I had signed up, but Canva added video elements. So I found myself, I don't think I ever went into Crello all of last year. So I was like, okay, well, that's $100 and something a year. PicMonkey, I haven't been in there in a couple of years, and I think every year I forget to cancel it. So I was able to save $100 a year on that. And also, like, I have the entire Adobe suite, which I pay $50 a month for. I used it 3 times last year. I pretty much use Canva for everything. I used to use Illustrator for everything. So that saved me a buku amount of money every month. And I know when COVID first hit last year, that was one of the first things I did, was kind of go through my expenses then, just, not knowing what was going to happen. Is internet going to stop? And my father's in Germany, like, oh, our internet's super slow and blah, blah, blah. So I think going through your expenses and making sure you do it at least once a year, you're going to find the same thing. You'll find systems or so many different programs that you don't use. It doesn't, there's no return on that investment. And of course, then you might find things that you are getting a good, like, wow, I opted into this. It's really, I got the return. Maybe I should double down on that because I am getting that return. So that is really the purpose of that homework. You should know your numbers. You should know what you're putting out in expenses. Are you putting 30% or a certain amount of money into marketing or technology or something like that for your business? It's all good practice to know your numbers. What are you spending on different marketing and stuff like that? It'll help you as we're, going through your goals and stuff like that. And this is all about our goals, our history. So that's basically what this week is all about. It's a lot of fun, but it is. And then here's a thought: is what if we recharged ourselves as often as we recharged our phones? How often are you taking the time for yourself out of business to just recharge yourself? And I think a lot of us, we just get so caught up in the day-to-day, and there's never enough hours for everything that we want to do. But it is super important to make sure that you are taking that time to recharge yourself. It only makes you better for, your clients, your family, anything like that. So that's just my thought for this morning. So this was part of like that registration homework. This is going into the history. This is basically, what did you do this year? And now that the year is done, you should know these numbers. So I just threw in, for easy math, I threw in some numbers in here. Obviously yours will be different. So what was your sales volume? What was that? What was your GCI? I just kind of used an average of 2.5% for each of the transactions. How many transactions did we do? Do you know how many appointments you went on? How many, listings you went on? How many buyer appointments? How many people you worked with? Just to know the amount of appointments. And that is not every house you showed, but almost like every client that, prospective client that you worked with, showed property listing appointments. And then there's a breakdown, which will be, very specific to you, the amount of listing, the amount of buyers, the amount of leads you got, and then the amount of referrals. These are always very good to know as you're building that business plan, because if you're a listing agent, a buyer's agent, or you're working off of your past clients, for referrals, those are always good numbers to know, because as we build our business planning, which next week, we're building that roadmap. And if you want to do more listings, what do we need to implement into our business plan to achieve that goal? So same thing, same with buyers. If you love working with buyers, what can we add into your business planning to be able to obtain this number? So this is basically your history. This was all of 2020. So you should have these, and it's where you can write that down in your notebook. It was part of that registration. If you registered, you would have got this to be able to do that. And now that the year is over, you should know these numbers. So then this is going into the goals. What I would recommend is doubling whatever you did for 2020, double it. And for some, that may seem like a ridiculously crazy number, but really, I say shoot for the sky, shoot for the stars, because if you did, I have 200. So if you did 200 and we make that double, let's do, 400, we're going to go into that mindset. What does that look like in an agent? If you know a few agents that are doing that 400, what are they doing in their business? So I think it puts us in that mentality of systems and things that we need to do to achieve that 400. Now, if you only get to 300, that's still that's still a significant increase. So I like to double, because we want to get in that mindset. What is it going to take to achieve this number? And looking at what other agents are doing and stuff like that. So that's where I say double, because we want to get in that mindset as we're building that roadmap to achieve this number. And if you don't get it, if you only, increase, almost doubling, that's still pretty awesome. So that's where I say double. I know some agents will, their goal is going to be achieving a certain achievement award. So I definitely have agents that, have been 100% and their goal is to get platinum. So if that's the case, put that in there. And that's always something that's great. And I know once you know how many appointments or how many closings you need, put that on your door. It's something that you look at every single day. I know a lot of people will build even like a cork board, or, okay, my goal is, helping 50 families this year, make little keys and you can hang them up with the person's name. And you actually, it's a visualization of seeing, you fill up that the goal sheet. So there's different ways that you can do that. I'm a visual, so I like to see something every day. And there's a lot of great ideas that people share of how they're, able to create that visual part to be able to. There's a team up in Virginia. I think it's not the coastal estate team, but it's something similar to that. And they actually have a piece of a wood cork board, and then they have hooks, and they have their goal. So if they want to help 50 families, they have 50 hooks. And then they have these little keychains made out of paper, and they just, you can get those little key tags or whatnot anywhere. And they write the name of the family they helped. So every time they have a closing, that goes on the cork board. Cool. So, as it fills up through the year, it's a visual. Yeah. So they can actually see how many families they're helping. And you could even do that. I know people have done them on Canva and stuff like that. There's a lot of fun ways that you can do that. But to me, it's a visual to be able to see that. I thought it was a great idea. And it's so fun to, at the end of the year, if they've achieved that, or maybe they have to add another one or double up. I mean, that just means they've exceeded their goals, and they always double every year. So just something to think about if that's something you want to add to your office or fun stuff. So as you're going through your goals, I want to double the numbers, but I also want you to think, do you want to add more buyers? Do you want to add more listings? What is that number going to look like? If you're going to double the amount of transactions, what is that going to look like? Are you half and half right now, but maybe you want to add more listings? Maybe you want to work with more buyers. maybe you want to work on your past, you know, your database. So maybe you want to increase that referral number. So let's make sure to split that. What is that? You know, if you're at 25, I'm just using because it's an easy number. So if I'm going from 25 to 50, what do I want, you know, as far as listings, buyers, referrals, rentals? I don't know, Lisa's is just on there. What is that going to look like? Are you you know, when you're splitting up those numbers? A lot of people are really going, you know, they're trying to focus on their database because they're people they already know and like, and maybe they just need to actually utilize that database. And I know we have that first app and everything else. If you, our office was paying, our agents were paying $100 a month before REMAX acquired them, but you get 90 days for free. I tell everybody at minimum, at least sign up, get your database organized, and then you can cancel it. Just email them, cancel it, but it'll really help you organize that. But Pam, do you guys use First at all? Do you have any agents that have used it?
I have it, and I believe Melissa is using it. I don't know if there's anyone else in the office who's using it, and it is pretty interesting to see the transactions you win and the transactions you lose. So it is kind of really cool, and it does jog your memory to maybe reach out to certain people that you may have forgotten to make calls. So I think it's kind of interesting. I like it.
I think, and it's crazy technology. I think it uses 700 different trigger points
Yeah,
to
it
be
is.
able to spot those in your database that may be looking at selling. I think they were talking about if somebody goes to Home Depot and buys cheap paint, they're probably considering selling or getting their house ready to sell. Because if they plan on being there forever, they're not going to buy that cheap paint or cheap carpet. So it's just different behaviors, which is super big brother, scary.
Yeah, it is.
But if we can utilize that technology to make sure that we're reaching out to the people we need to reach out to in our database, I mean, that's it. And you guys use Boomtown, correct?
Most of the agents use Boomtown.
So
Yes.
if you are able to export that part of the database, as well as everything, you know, your past clients, all of that, and utilize First and the 90 days for free, if you're not using it to organize all of that, that's a gold mine right there in itself.
It is. It is.
I mean, so just something to think about if you're looking to increase that referral, even if, I mean, the drips and everything will slowly be coming out into Booge, but right now you can still upload all of your contacts into Booge. You could tag them with however you want, but you can send out monthly newsletters. They have, you know, newsletters for every, you know, holiday and stuff, but they do monthly newsletters. So you just go in there. It's not under the newsletters tab. So that's a little confusing. You have to go under create campaign, go to templates, and they'll have the different newsletters you can, you know, edit, create, you know, enhance it. But there is content already there, so you don't have to think about it. But just a way to touch, if you're not doing anything, it's a way to touch and reach out to your database if you're not doing anything already.
You know, sorry, Heather, I was gonna say, we usually like to set those up. I mean, we've done it in the past where we remind the agents at the tail end of the year to set their campaigns. I know they're not always released, but just kind of set it for the following year. So you set it and forget it. And it's constantly reaching out and touching folks because you get busy with, you know, your boots on the ground, and it's touching your customers when you may mean well and want to send out some type of campaign and you just lose track of time. So it's phenomenal. And I can't tell you how many times we've sent those out and a customer will respond and say, oh, I've been meaning to call you. I want to talk to you about my son, or we want to sell our house, or we want to whatever. So it's great because they feel like you're doing it in the moment, but it's just putting those systems in place. And it's very important to attribute that to your referral business.
And Design Center, usually they have all the automatic campaigns. So usually they're released about now. So I'll have to go check and see, and I'll definitely let everybody know because the Design Center has the monthly, the quarterly, and the holiday schedule. So it's a set it and forget it. You upload your database and then you just basically activate the new 2021 newsletters. It's something we have to do every year. And usually it's around the 15th of January that all the new campaigns are in there. Not
I just did it. They are in there already. I just did mine on Tuesday.
Okay, so in Design Center?
I've been using that for a couple of years. I absolutely love them. I go in, I set up all my monthly ones. I modify them a bit. I change the title. I call them Notes from Nanette. And then
Love it.
I pick
Yeah, I
a
love
phrase
that.
from one of the articles as sort of my subject line. So it says Notes from Nanette, whatever, is now a good time to sell or something like that. So I took time Tuesday, I did all of those, and then I do the holidays also. I
Yes.
set those up. So like you say, it's kind of a set it and forget it. And it was funny. I'm a paperless agent member, so I hadn't been doing my newsletters regularly with them, but I decided again on Tuesday, oh, you know what? I'm going to use so I have 2 touches a month. So I set up my paperless agent and I sent that right out right away. Probably within an hour and a half, I had 3 responses back from my database. Hi, how are you? How's everything going? That kind of thing. So I thought, oh my God, why am I just not better about this? But anyway, love the Design Center ones. They're crisp, they're clean, they're just short enough. If you want to add your own listing in place, you can. But anyway, it doesn't take that long. It took me, maybe an hour or more just to do that.
And that's only because you edited each one.
Right. Oh God, yeah. If I didn't edit, boom, you just add up you load your database and set it and you go. And they're good too. I like the color in them. They're really nice.
So, I mean, and then I know, so we have Design Center in Bouge by the end of Q1. I know before R4, because right now they're just loading content in, and that'll be not only the newsletters that you can set and forget, but also it's going to be drip campaigns for your leads, like buyer, seller leads, whatever. So that's all soon, but they didn't just say soon. They said very, very soon. But I believe their goal is to have this done before R4, because if it's not done before R4, that's going to not be so good for them. So I know they were really close, and the beta team's like, no, you need more. So that's what they're doing right now, is they're loading this up. So we'll have a set it and forget it within Bouge for all of your internet leads, your megaphone leads, all of that, as well as inside of Design Center, we have that. Megaphone now also has where it'll automatically post to social all of your listings. If you set that up, you can use your own hashtags, your own website, you could do everything and set that all up. So make sure to check out Megaphone and their new auto. It's within the last month. I was on beta for it, but I did see it was live in accounts. But it is something cool. So you can say you want to approve it or no, just go ahead. Every time I get a new listing, price reduced, sold, open house, I want you
Cost
to.
for that, correct?
What's that?
There is a cost for a megaphone.
No. That's all free. Megaphone has where you can do your own ads. That would cost money. And Megaphone also has a concierge service, which is more for brokerages and teams. Like the price doesn't really fit an individual agent, but that's the additional. You automatically get ads for all of your listings for free, just like on AdWorks.
Oh,
for
I
all
didn't
of your
realize that.
listings. And you also you can use the automated social posts. That's all free.
Okay. And Heather, they're still providing us with the BombBomb automation post as well, correct?
Absolutely. So that social prompt for an agent, go in there and it's 1 post a week, and whether it's a video or a photo, for sure. So make sure, I mean, that's just content. So it's nice when you can have some stuff that's automatically being posted, but the BombBomb social prompt, I believe there is a tile in your new agent hub that takes you right to the page to sign up. Do the social prompt, that's free. You'll probably have an email trying to upsell you in BombBomb. You don't have to do that. The Remax social prompt is free. Just my thing, you'll get a text whenever the new ones are released. My biggest tip is to go in and make sure you add your own text to those posts. Otherwise, it's just going to be a video or just a photo. And they have suggested text that you just have to go in there, copy paste, and maybe add your own website or hashtags, just something to kind of personalize it a little bit.
Mhm.
So that's probably my biggest pet peeve is 98% of the posts I see,
Do nothing.
it's just a graphic and
Yep.
it just looks weird. I think they should have the automatic text automatically where we could go in and edit it, but at least something will be there versus
I'm
just
making
that.
myself a note to look at that.
And I'm always in there, always changing, just because it is such a pet peeve and and I want to look at what's going out because sometimes it, especially for like your area when they have the whole snow thing and
Yeah.
winter's
That makes
coming, I'm
sense.
like, it's 90 degrees. That doesn't apply. So let me
Right.
pause that one. So that's where it comes to sorting how many listings, buyers, referrals you want. And then you also need to think of your life goals. So physical, relational, financial, spiritual. What are you going to do to improve not only the money, but what are your life goals? As far as physical, are you going to do the gym? Are you going to run more? Are you going to do this? Relational, spending time, family, friends, that kind of stuff. Financial, increase your savings, all of that. And spiritual, what are you doing that's recharging yourself? For me, my spiritual is, maybe reading a good book, and all of my books are more kind of like a self-help, Tony Robbins kind of thing. I love those. But I also make sure to try to go up in the mountains. For me, that is very spiritual. It's just me and kind of God's country and it's just amazing. So for me to be able to go and do a nice drive through the mountains every week, that's a way to recharge me spiritually. So make sure that you're adding in this. It's not all about the money, but it's all about just that balance in life. So that's why we made sure to add that in there. Let's see. So having the real estate conversations, this is, what are you doing to have these conversations? I know, just like Nanette was talking about, setting up those auto, kind of set it and forget it so that you're having those email touches. But what about phone? Note cards, social engagement, and relationships. I can't tell you how many times I have people, oh, I just want, they want me to run their social media. And I stopped doing that on an agent level because it's just, I can't be you. That's like asking some third party company to write personal note cards to your friends and family. It just doesn't really work. Social's about being social and creating those relationships. I have all of my friends in different categories, like friends list. So I can click on that and only see the feed for those specific people. And that really kind of helps Facebook work to my advantage. But really it's not about just being that looky-loo on social. Make sure to comment on posts and I like to use social as a way to find out what I can send a note card for. So I have, note cards are super powerful. So I go to Amazon, I have this whole book. It's an assortment of note cards. I use social media to be able to find reasons to send a personal note card. My business card doesn't go in there. It doesn't have anything about real estate. It's just if you see, a pet passed away or, someone graduated or kid got married. There are so many different life events that happen that people post about. Use social to find ways to send out personal note cards. And I try to say, send out 5 note cards a week and just keep it in your database when you did what. And that's going to help you build those relationships. And it's using social media to help you because that's when you know everything that's going on in their life. You know what they're eating, everything, right? So using social to build those relationships, but also to send those note cards. Newsletters, same thing, what I was talking about, just being able to touch people, remind them that you're in real estate, even if they don't read that full newsletter, they're always, it's just, you want to keep, it's that mindset. So it's why I like AdWorks ad. I don't expect one lead from AdWorks. It's just changing the ad. It's just that product placement constantly in their face. So just different things. Of course, I like personal video emails. If you do use BombBomb, you can, they have a Chrome extension, so I can send a personal email that just has a video in it. I can tell you when, especially when COVID hit, I was using that feature all the time to reach out to, especially like my grandmother who was all by herself. And, it was just kind of weird. Like we're in a different time. So being able to send, of course, it kind of confused her. Like, how are you doing that? How do you have a video in my email? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know how you did that. But being real and personal and sending that via email, the video is so much more powerful than words, because words and text can be interpreted in different ways. But when you have that video, it's you, it's personal. It makes such a big difference. So those are just different ideas on actually having real estate conversations with people.
Love that. That's powerful. Good stuff.
And your online profiles. Ugh, it is my biggest pet peeve. For real, the struggle. As being an admin of two of the largest REMAX Facebook groups, especially like the creative group, we probably get 50 to 100 requests a day for people wanting to join the groups. I can tell you 90% of the people who ask to join don't answer any questions and have nothing in their profile that says they're with REMAX or even an agent. So they just sit there, and we get nasty messages all the time. Why approve me? I've been, I requested 2 days ago. Did you answer questions? And are you a secret agent? Because, we're all volunteers. We have to go make sure you're with REMAX, which means I have to take time to go and Google your name to make sure you pop up under, a REMAX profile. That's taking my time. If you don't have time to make sure you're associated with REMAX and you won't even answer the questions, you are just going to sit there until we all have time to go through to make sure you're actually with REMAX. So your online profiles, and I say, go and Google yourself. Just Google your name plus REMAX. What shows up? You probably have more profiles than you even remember. The biggest one is your REMAX profile. If you Google your name plus REMAX, your online public REMAX profile is always going to be the top result, like it or not, because REMAX.com is a ginormous website. It covers, it's pretty globally, right? So we want to make sure, and that is all pulling from your Max Center account. Make sure if you're on social, your social links are in that profile. Make sure if you have a website, your website is on there. And Pam, I think you even realized there were some weird websites.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list as well, because you get caught up, especially when you create them and you've been in the business for so long, you just don't make a habit of visiting it routinely and you just forget. And I was in there yesterday and I'm like, good God, what is this? So yes,
it is
something we're working on.
It blows my mind. And also because I do all the Bouge websites, so many people, your bio that pulls over into your Bouge website pulls directly from Max Center. So I've had agents, why is my name that? Only my mother calls me by that name. Or where did you get that picture? It's 20 years old. I'm like, that is what your profile says. Like I don't even go into your profile. I just build your site. So if you're not paying attention to what you're saying, you've never used that name, only your mother, you've been with REMAX for 15 years. That's what your profile has said for 15 years. Like I can't make that up. It just pulls over. So all of this stuff, I've noticed as I've gone through agents and their website, maybe a lot of websites, it's actually using an old domain that we had back when we had the Reliance sites, which was before we had the homes websites, those spas, right? So a lot of people right now, we had the spa site, which was really your public profile on REMAX.com. Now we have Bouge websites, fully customizable. But that, if you have not changed your website address to the new Bouge site, if you only had your spa listed, it's only taking them to your REMAX profile. It's not going to take them to your website, whatever that may be. If you do not have a website, you do have a website. We just need to get it published. if you go to your agent hub, and it's in the newsletters, and I think we've posted it, there is a Booge tile, order your website. You click on that. It's going to ask you some questions. What photos do you like? Blah, blah, blah. Ask you a couple questions. I will make your Booge website look great out of the box, and it's done. And well, now I have a question. When I originally was doing the Booge sites, I log in directly through Booge. I don't go in through Mac Center. So I never touched anybody's profile. But because it is such a pet peeve of mine, I do have that as a question now. Do you want me to make sure your profile is good? So if you say yes, I always forget, then I'll make sure to log in through Mac Center so that I'll go through your profile to make sure the correct website. If you have social, I'm going to make sure all your social icons are on there. If you have an updated photo, I'll update your photo. So I will make sure to pimp that out for you. If you select yes, I always forget to update this, please do that for me. But originally when I started, because Florida, we got the Booge websites in August. So I let your office and a couple others be my guinea pig so I could learn the websites, but I wasn't updating profiles back then. And now we have so many new things in the Booge websites. So if you don't have another website, make sure that your Booge website is published, and I'll make it look very pretty. You just have to fill out that form and I will do that for you. So
Adding that as a reminder for our agents as well.
yes, please, because I do them all the time. It doesn't take me that long, but it will. I have different photos of your area that you can choose from. So we want to kind of personalize it to match the area and what you like your site to look like. Of course, if you want to improve on that and really make your website great, you guys get a huge discount from my platinum plans, which is a lot of, making your website like a hub for your area, where we add pages for all the communities. You can create landing pages. There's a lot of things that you can do on these Booge. They're completely customizable, but I want to at least get everybody in here. You can set it up. We'll make it look great out of the box so it's not embarrassing. You have your own domain, make sure it's pointed to that. I help you with all of that. But make sure that you Google yourself, check out your RE/MAX profile. You're going to see your social media profiles, your MLS. That's always really big too. I see a lot of have old photos, old emails, old websites. Your MLS sheets that go out to your clients have your information. So if you're setting up prospects and they're getting those emails, we want to make sure those sheets have your actual information correctly. Your Zillow, make sure you pimp that out. We, the office, RE/MAX Elite, we probably get 2 leads a week. We don't pay Zillow anything. It is because our profile, the reviews, we have video, we have all of that. That is free on Zillow. Make sure your listings are synced. Make sure that your past sales are on there. Pimp out that profile, because people just go to search for an agent. You don't have to pay to show up. So
Right. And the reminder, is it still, I always tell the agents when they create their account or they're using Zillow, they should be using their remax.net log on with Zillow. I know that used to be an issue in the beginning. I know Zillow has changed over times.
You want to use the email that you have in your MLS, because that way your listings will sync. You can add secondary emails. So you can add multiple emails in Zillow, but the biggest thing for Zillow, for your listings to be synced with you, it has to match the email from your MLS. But in Zillow, you can add your remax.net email, but no, it's automatically syndicating based on your MLS number. ID is in your RE/MAX profile. So your listings automatically will be attached to you as long as the email that's in your MLS is in your Zillow account, because that's how Zillow basically attaches your listing to you in there. And now that Zillow's kind of being its own brokerage, that syndication from RE/MAX is going to be stopped as soon as they enter your MLS. It'll be a direct MLS feed, but Zillow uses the email address. That's how they match to get your listings. So right now, I know Zillow's kind of doing the whole Florida thing right now. We've had issues with the feeds. We always had a direct feed, so we didn't rely on RE/MAX or any third party. our MLS stopped feeding years ago, but we always had a direct feed, so we didn't have to rely on Remax itself. But right now everything is kind of getting messed up because Zillow's kind of entering our MLS. I believe they're slowly there. And I think Florida's, it's just the next couple months are going to be kind of a mess with the feed just because they're entering the MLS boards right now. So you have to check and see if it's coming. But the only good thing about that is now they'll have to follow IDX and all of the data will be correct.
That's wonderful.
Which will be great because
Yes.
when you're not paying for Zillow, it is really hard to contact customer support.
Mhm.
You know, and customers get mad and it's like, look, it's a marketing company. They don't care about us like,
Yeah.
unless we're paying them.
Right. Zillow's been an issue with condos as well. They seem to just take that address and all of the units just become a big jambalaya. And you'll have
Yes.
someone else's pictures in your unit or someone else's price point associated with your listing. It becomes very confusing to the consumer. And we've had that problem here with condos tremendously.
Well, once, so in the next couple months, once they actually join your board, that they'll have that direct IDX feed. So then they have to go through and map everything out and it'll be correct. So that is probably the one benefit of them joining the MLSs is then they have to follow IDX compliance rules and the data will be correct. And, you know, like a constant live feed, because we're always, right now we're having a lot of issues, and it stinks because then I have to reach out to one of the salespeople that, you know, harassed me for 6 months.
Yes.
So, you know, I have to reach out to them. They help me, but then I have to be on the phone for an hour and a half trying to get a sales pitch. No, I'm not paying you $10,000 to get 100 leads. I'm good. Thanks. But make sure to Google yourself, go to your social platforms, your MLS, Google Business. It's Google My Business. Make sure that's on there. You should be getting those reviews in your newsletter Friday. I have tips. Make sure that you do have that. Just don't clean the office, please. Make sure it's separate from the office. Google Business is crucial to get reviews over there because think of all of the artificial intelligence, your Alexas, Amazon's, I don't know. We have like 5, so we use every name in our house for those little devices. But if you ask for a real estate agent near you, guess where it's pulling that information from?
Your reviews.
Google.
Yeah.
Who has the most reviews? So you want to make sure that you are getting your reviews on all the places that reviews are had. I mean, it's just, so in this Friday's newsletter is actually a tip on like a sample email and maybe offering like a little $10 Starbucks gift card for them to use or pass along to be able to take the time to give you reviews on these different platforms that you're going to link out in an email. So another thing is
just to touch on that, Heather, if you don't mind me interrupting real quick. I know we're running late today, but we do that on for our agents. So Tiffany will go ahead. We've got an email that goes out and we ask the clients to review their agent, give us a testimonial, and then we're able to obviously put them on, you know, we put them on our Facebook, we tag our agents, but everything goes on Google. So we send the agent, the customer to Google, and then we'll take that review. We'll make a really pretty post on Canva, what have you, and post it on Facebook.
Awesome.
So we do that for the agents, and it's tremendous. It's really brought up our Google ranking and the reviews.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. Yep.
I mean, and Google Business is just crazy in itself to see how many people go to our websites, call us, click on the map to come to our office.
Religiously. I mean, that is one thing we have been doing. It's profound.
That's awesome.
It's got that nailed.
So make sure and go to brandyourself.com. It's free. Do the free thing and you'll type in your name and they're going to basically give you a free assessment of your online presence. So I know an agent that may have a lot of photos with solo cups and that's bad.
Yeah.
Apparently that's bad. So
Yeah.
I think I had one from a wedding and I'm in a solo cup and it's like, this is not good. You should not have these. And I'm like, whatever. But they will actually evaluate you. I had paid for it at one point just for like a month or two. It really helped me improve all of my profiles and maybe adding my name. My biggest competition was there's another Heather Holiday. So Google Academy loved me when I went in for training. I let them use me as an example, like, what do I need to do to get on this first page? Because Heather Holiday is a sword swallower that's out of Coney Island. And yes, and she doesn't wear a lot of clothes and she swallows swords. So when you Google, and I'm telling you, if you Google Heather Holiday, all you see are all of her socials, and it says Heather Holiday at Heather Swallows for everything. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, it's a struggle. I finally had got myself up to the first page, and then she got, I guess MTV had some show called Freak Show, and she was like a guest on that, and I lost it all. Like, now she's an international superstar that swallows swords. So
You're done.
I'm done. So people just Google Heather Holiday and they see at Heather Swallows, and it's a great conversation starter.
Yes. I learned something new today about you.
Yeah, Google me. Some people get scared, like, I thought it was weird that they're telling me you can help me with this or that, because, yeah, it's always a challenge. I have a different challenge than others have, but Google yourself. And that is the homework, is to Google yourself and make sure your social profiles are up to date. And the biggest one is definitely that remax.com one, which is going to be that first result. If you Google your name plus Remax, we want to make sure that's what pulls over to your Bouge website. It'll have your social, your bio. We also make sure when I do your Bouge website, if you have reviews, I put them in that manual section. That will carry over into your profile as well. So we just want to make sure you're pimped out everywhere that you are, so you're not a secret agent. And online profiles, it's one of my biggest pet peeves, but it's also just something that we forget to look at, or we forget we set up an About Me profile 10 years ago. And,
Exactly.
I mean, there's just so many different things. So that is your homework. That was a lot of stuff.
That's good homework. I think, and we also sent that out. We did the 31-day kickoff.
Yes, I see that. That's awesome. That was so great.
And we broke ours up, so our agents are getting one a day, and we changed it up a little bit, and that was in there. So hopefully they're doing it. It's important.
And if not, this is a reminder. You need to
That's
do
right.
that. And then I mean, you may be kind of surprised when you see, like, what is this? Because I do that all the time. But just make sure, if you don't have another website, make sure that we have your Bouge website published. Go in there, fill out that form. I will do that for you. I will also make sure to check out your profile if that's something you want me to do, so we can make sure to get that done. And hold on. Oops, that was stop share. All right, let me.
There you are, Karen. I didn't see you before.